G'day legends, we just finished UFC Abu Dhabi and one of the big takeaways from that card was the announcement of UFC 308, which is also going to be happening in Abu Dhabi. The UFC did their old school thing where for once they just released the entire card without milking it one fight at a time and making us have that argument of, oh no, this card sucks, this card's no good. We just got to see the entire card. Actually, turns out that UFC Abu Dhabi kind of cooked. UFC 308 is going to be quite good for the Sphere. But there are a couple of interesting fights on that one. Number one, it looks like Magomed Ankalaev isn't going to be getting his title shot, which is kind of weird. But also, Robert Whittaker has been rebooked to fight Khamzat Chimaev. And this fight annoys the hell out of me. I do not know why, but this one just irks me the wrong way. I don't understand how come Khamzat Chimaev is getting this continued step up and push towards the title picture. There could be a number of things going on here, not just the fact that it's Khamzat Chimaev, but it's also the state of the entire division, I feel like. Right now, you have got this situation where Dricus du Plessis is fighting Israel Adesanya, and already that feels like an undeserved title shot for Israel Adesanya. Why do other fighters have to go back into the rankings and get at least one ranked win before they get pushed towards the title? But Israel Adesanya, who the internet just lies about being a dominant champion, he wasn't dominant as a champion, okay? He barely beat Kelvin Gastelum, had a robbery against Robert Whittaker in the second fight, lost to Jan Blachowicz, was knocked out, had to win back his title, and then got 50-45'd against Sean Strickland. He had a boring-ass fight with Yoel Romero that could have gone to Yoel Romero, and another boring-ass fight against Jared Cannonier. He was not dominant, but he was certainly around. Either way, Israel Adesanya gets an unwarranted title shot, which annoys me and adds to the annoyance of that division. You've got Sean Strickland, who likes to go out there and spar with influencers and do a bunch of podcasts and also share with us on his Twitter how we should be making our purchasing decisions, almost influencing our purchasing decisions, making himself an influencer. So you've got this fake tough guy, Sean Strickland, who just refuses to get back into the cage and keep fighting for his title shot, even though he kind of deserves a title shot. So on one hand, you've got Israel Adesanya, doesn't deserve a title shot, didn't fight for one, is getting a title shot. Sean Strickland does deserve a title shot and is choosing not to fight for one and just sit out and bag influencers while being an influencer at the same time. Then you've got Khamzat Chimaev, the man with no lungs. Firstly, about that fight with Khamzat, I'm not annoyed at it because I'm worried about Whittaker. Quite frankly, I think Whittaker dog walks Khamzat Chimaev. I don't think Khamzat Chimaev has got it in him anymore. The dog, the fighter, the warrior spirit, the man that wants to beat somebody's ass. I don't think that was zesty. I don't think he has got that in him anymore. So I'm not worried about the fight. I think the fight just irks me. Robert Whittaker has been there doing the work, putting in the work since he's lost to DDP, and the UFC essentially announced that he could be the backup fighter for UFC 305 in Perth, Dricus du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya. So you've got someone who is as good as a number one contender can be. Former champion, won a bunch of fights, the UFC says you're going to be a backup fighter. On the other hand, you've got Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev, whose last win was a year ago against a 2-week off-the-couch Kamaru Usman. A Kamaru Usman who clearly popped his knee out in the open training against Justin Gaethje the day before the fight. Khamzat Chimaev took that 2-week notice bad knee Kamaru Usman to essentially a draw. So coming off a draw against Kamaru Usman, you get given Robert Whittaker the number one contender. Odd decision, but okay. You then pull out of that fight because of food poisoning. Now, everyone likes to say, oh, he was close to death, No, listen, the internet has got short memories. You're remembering the big talking point here, okay? The big talking point was apparently Khamzat Chimaev's manager called Dana and said shit was really bad. It turns out shit was not really bad. Khamzat Chimaev had a sore fucking tummy. That's what happened. And he had a sore fucking tummy 2 weeks before the fight. He could have made the fight, but he pulled out against Robert Whittaker. Right now, you have got Paulo Costa, who is sitting there ready to fight a Khamzat Chimaev level of a fighter. You've got Khamzat Chimaev, who deserves a Paulo Costa level of ranked opponent. They were booked to fight each other in the past. That's how Khamzat Chimaev ended up fighting Kamaru Usman in the first place. Yet instead, he is being rewarded with pulling out of a main event when we're trying to be introducing the UFC to Saudi Arabia. It's a massive event. Khamzat Chimaev pulls out because of a sore fucking belly, and he is being rewarded with the #1 contender for the title, Robert Whittaker, instead of fighting Paulo Costa. Why? Why the fuck is this happening? I do not get it. I don't understand it. And I think it's just everything that is going on in that division. My brain has cracked and I'm like done with it. Like, I am done with that fucking division and everybody in it. You've got Dricus du Plessis going around doing the rounds on interviews saying, I'm not gonna take Israel Adesanya down. I'm going to beat him up on the feet. I did kickboxing when I was 12. I'm sure I can out kickbox Israel Adesanya. So you've got this great person who's got wrestling is going to refuse to use the wrestling. You got Izzy sitting out, you got Strickland sitting out, and Whittaker's the only one there trying to do some work, and they just keep throwing Chimaev at him for some reason. Like, Khamzat Chimaev, fuck off and fight a ranked contender, like similar to you in the rankings. Oh, god damn it. I guess the one good thing that's going to come out of this is that Khamzat Chimaev isn't going to pull up to this fight. We know that. And if he does pull up to this fight, the dude has got absolutely no fight left in him. He is not got a gas tank that will be able to push for 5 rounds. Now, this is a co-main event, and they don't think they announced it as one of those 5-round co-main events, so it could still be 3 rounds. But either way, I mean, I know when I was first calling this fight and I first started predicting it, I did predict that Robert Whittaker would lose the first round and maybe half of the second and then slowly come back and get the win. However, something about Whittaker's new mindset and him wanting to be the hunter and the killer in the cage, paired with the fact that Khamzat Chimaev can't fight unless all conditions are perfect and his belly hurt, as well as the idea of Khamzat Chimaev having a pretty low immune system and just his gas tank in general not being there, I still think Robert Whittaker is going to have this one pretty easily. There's a bit of a meme on the channel where if one of my favorite fighters wins against impossible odds, I'll do a vertical live stream and we'll head down to the pub together. This isn't going to be one of those. I think Robert Whittaker is going to be able to cruise this one in, and that one might be my downfall of a take. That one might come back to bite me in the ass. But Khamzat Chimaev has just lost so much aura, and the fact that he struggles with Gilbert Burns, who is now, that fight has now aged terribly, and he struggles against Kamaru Usman off 2 weeks' notice and 1 knee, that has also aged pretty terribly. And he hasn't got any warrior spirit in him. He can't fight past a bellyache 2 weeks before his fights. Does make me think that Robert Whittaker should have this one in the bag. Anyway, that is my rant about the entire division. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead, hit the like button to help grow the channel. And until then, I will see you all in the next one.